Morning, Chris. How are you?
Good, Mark. How are you doing?
I am doing well, thanks. How nice is it from a special teams perspective to go from the snow in Seattle to the cold at Soldier Field to the cozy indoors of a dome next week?
Well, it's nice, especially late in the year. So we are excited that we don't have to worry about the wind or grass or any of the elements. So that'll be a good thing.
And was the cold at Soldier Field an issue for punting last week with Pat O'Donnell?
It can be, obviously the ball doesn't compress like it would on a hotter day. The ball doesn't travel quite as far, but he had some nice punts, and even some that I think as a fan might say is an ugly punt. When you're playing in those conditions, it's like playing links golf. You have to maneuver around the course a little bit. I think we got booed on a 43-yard net on one of them, which I found that interesting. But I thought it was a good punt, didn't get in his hands, and that's football.
Next question, Kevin Fishbane.
Hey, Chris, I'm wondering with Caleb Johnson, what are some of the things you've seen from him this year that tell you that he's got the qualities to last in this league, especially with what he's done for you on special teams?
He's gotten better each and every week. He's obviously a young player, undrafted guy that, has been able to play multiple positions. And the thing that I really liked about him, I think that sometimes you always hear about that proverbial rookie wall. You never saw that. You saw a guy just, hey, what can I do to get better this week? And he's still doing that. So I'm glad he's on our team.
Next question, Dan Weeder.
Chris, on the kickoff late in the first half, obviously that's a mistake by the Giants returner, the guy that let it bounce at the two. But you had some follow-up both by Caleb and Sam Kamara to make sure you guys capitalized on it. And I was curious how much you talked about that afterwards and just your overall assessment of that sequence.
Well, we always do. I'll be honest with you. When the ball, I was standing down there with the kickoff team. When the ball came off his foot, I did not think that was going to be a touchback. So when I saw his arms, I was like, wow, it's traveling farther than I thought. And then I heard the crowd roar, which obviously told me that the ball just checked up. We called it the little bit of the Brazilian backspin by Cairo, right there. But he did the guys, I will say this, we give points on touchbacks for the first guy that runs through the end zone. So it does become a competition. And it always ensures us of always running through, because we do talk about that. If a guy does make a mistake, which can happen, we got to be down there to cover. Just because we see the signal that it's a touchback, we don't want to pull off there.
Overall, and just that concept of complementary football, how satisfied were you with the close of that first half and being able to get 8 points and really your unit doing their part to help that?
No, that was great. That was great because, what we talked about, I think, in San Francisco, going 2 for 1 there. You got points, and then you came out and drove the ball 75 yards and got a touchdown there. So I really like that style of football there. It was good for us, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Next question, Zach Pearson.
Hey, Chris, I'm just curious, when it's the last game of the season and you have players to evaluate, and we saw Grant come back last week and take punt returns and a kick return, how do you kind of balance, mixing in guys to maybe give them shots to kind of evaluate going into the offseason?
I think, there's only going to be, 48 guys up. So whoever those 48 guys are up, that's who we're going to play. Jakeem, really just did punt returns. He went in on after a safety there because it's a punt. But if guys are able to do it, we play everybody in our room. And I think I stated that. I think with Pat, when he was nervous about Daz playing in Seattle there, if you have a helmet, we're going to expect you to play and help us win.
Next question, Brad Biggs.
Hey, Chris, realizing that your focus is on the Vikings and has been that way all week, I'm still kind of curious, as a veteran who's been around a long time, went through many regime changes in Cleveland. What is it like for you at the end of a season when there's outside speculation about what's going to happen in the building for you personally?
Well, I know it's not going to be a flashy answer, but it is the truth. You do your job. That's what you're hired for is to do your job. And that's I try to be where my feet are. And as simple as that is, that's the approach that I take. We're still in charge of getting our players better. Minnesota is really good on special teams. I know I talked about employee 26 for him last time. He's still there. He's still a really good player. So I'm concentrating heavily on him. But the outside noise is the outside noise. And when you get into this profession, you know what you sign up for.
Next
Thank you.
question, Finley.
I'm still not over the Daz Newsome thing, just so you know.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Pat.
Along the lines of what Brad was asking, I know you've got a job to worry about. How do you take care of the people closest to you, your wife and daughters, who have to hear the same stuff you have to hear? And I imagine that might be tougher than worrying about it your own self.
Well, we really don't talk about it.
Really?
To be honest with you, my girls are resilient. My wife is resilient. We've been, whatever the road is. I do believe this, that the good Lord always has a plan for you. Don't ask why, just be there and execute. But we were watching Monday Night Football the other day, and it was real quiet. It was kind of the end of the game, and my wife said something to me, about, boy, you've been on multiple staffs or whatever. And that was the only time that we've ever talked about it. It's what you do. It's like anybody's job. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you, when I go home, I don't want to talk about football. I really don't. And I think that's kind of how we approach it.
Next question, Herb Howard.
Hey, what's going on, Coach? Coach, when did you know that you would be without Tariq Cohen for the entire season?
I just know, when I get the injury reports, and you're always tracking guys, on a weekly basis. I don't ever ask, hey, when's this guy getting back, at what time? I never asked that about Tariq. We were always just hoping that Tariq's rehab was going well and that he was progressing in the right way. And when he was available, then we would talk about what positions that we would play him at. But that's, I never went down that road.
Was there a point where it became kind of a necessity for you to go out and figure out that we need a guy like Jakeem or somebody else to come in and fill this spot?
Well, I think our organization, I think they've done a great job, of always trying to help us with special teams players. And I think that's what they did. And if you get another good player and another good player comes back, I call those good player and good player, that equals good problem. And that's what you want.
Next question, Adam Hogue.
Hey, Chris, when you were in Cleveland and you went through all those changes and the head coaches are changing around you, other coaches are changing around you, going through that experience, what was the benefit of having that stability in special teams as all that change was happening?
It's a good question. I've never thought of it like that. I've honestly thought, do your job, get your players better. And as we tell the players, I don't think it's any different for us. You tell the players the tape is your resume. As a coach, the tape is your resume. And that's what I've tried to always concentrate on. I know it's not a flashy answer for you, but that's the truth.
Last question, Mark Potash.
Mark's going to be the last one, huh?
Hey, Chris. I'll try again after all these years. Who was your?
Hold on. Are you gonna poke one right here? Huh? You're gonna go for a home run on this?
It's the same question I asked, and then you haven't given me one yet, but I'm gonna give it one last try.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Who was your Sherrick McManus this year, especially with DeAndre out for part of the year and something like that? Can you point to anybody who really developed into that kind of four-phase special teamer that the Bears can hopefully lean on in the future?
Well, I'll say this, earlier you guys asked me about Caleb Johnson, who's improved. A guy that's really played steady for us that doesn't get a lot of flash is Christian Jones. He does a lot of dirty work. When you watch him block on punt return, we call him the Secretary of Defense because it's just tough to get past him. He has strong hands and does a lot of things. And then we've had other guys that have come in and played well for us. So, and I know, once again, Mark, I'm dodging your question, or you'll be perceived that way. But, Damian Williams coming in and playing spots for DHC and really stepping up and being able to, force punts, play on the kickoff, and just be a good, he's a guy that's played a long time, and for him to have a leadership role in our room, he does. But Christian Jones has been there all year and has been really consistent. I've been real proud of him, and I'm glad that he's back with us.